Secret Invasion episode 1 drop, baby.
Yeah. It was weird because this was sort of on my radar and then dropped off
Yeah.
and then now came back. So the first episode starts with what's his name?
Everett Ross.
Everett Ross. And he looks like he's trying to get in contact with this other agent from somewhere. I don't know if he's a SHIELD agent or an ex-SHIELD agent. They don't really
That
say.
agent was holed up in Russia smoking crack.
Oh yeah.
That's
The
what he was
Russians knew
doing.
They were supplying. What's his face? Goes to see him. He basically drops this whole thing about scrolls being part of like society and whatnot. There's hundreds of them, and there's a group that basically wants to take over Earth because they say that Captain Marvel left, Nick Fury left, and they had originally promised us a place where we can stay, and they haven't promised. It's been 30 years. They haven't promised. They haven't made good with the promise. Basically, they start orchestrating terrorist acts around the world to make it look like terrorist acts, but really it's the Skrulls doing it.
Yeah.
What's his face? They get into a tussle out of nowhere. Gets choked up. Everett Ross gets choked out. Shoots the O, steals the information, goes on a little foot chase there. Gets intercepted by what's her face, Maria Hill, and then we just see Nick Fury come back. He gets dropped off. Still got his space legs, so he's trying to figure that out, and
Yeah.
and we see Talos and everything come back too.
Yeah. Talos's wife died in between that 30 years as well, which is pretty sad. Caused like a big old separation between, well, it looks like the separation was already there between Talos and their oldest daughter, Gaia, which is played by Emilia Clarke.
Yeah. There's Gaia, yeah? Like the Queen of the Earth Gaia, or
yeah, that's what I'm assuming.
Yeah.
In the comics, Gaia has like kids and everything like that.
Right.
I don't know about villain status or whatnot. I did like this whole thing with like displaced by the blip and also displaced from your planet.
Yeah.
Which is a bit wild. Like you're basically a refugee on another planet, hiding in plain sight. It's crazy. Crazy the camps that they set up.
Yeah.
Like
it was. Yeah. Go on.
Like Skrull plantations and food and stuff like that. And I also like that because of our ecosystem and whatnot, the plants from Skrullos. I don't know why that was funny. The plants, just react and grow differently.
So there was a little tidbit that Talos told them about, like Skrulls are able to live in highly radiated areas, and supposedly in Russia there's a whole bunch of them, right? So they sort of take over these sort of places, and that's where they're setting up their colonies because humans can't go in there. Obviously, they'll die after 2 minutes or whatever it is. Yeah. So that was different. I never heard about that before. Like does that mean that Skrullos is a heavily radiated sort of planet or something like that? Maybe high levels of gamma rays and stuff like that. Gamma radiation, and that's why they're green and all that sort of stuff. Maybe. I do think that the Hulk is going to show up and fight Super Skrull because he kind of has to. He's the only person.
I hope so.
Only person who could. It's either that or his son, one of the two. But yeah, so going on, we then meet Olivia Colman's character, Sonya. Yeah, and she's almost like an intelligence dealer, something like that. She's MI6. She's in Russia, obviously. Nick takes a stroll and just gets kidnapped. Am I Mission Impossible style? Shows up
Like
there,
that.
has a little chat, gives her the info. Yeah, we get to see one of these Skullos plantations. It's really cool.
Hmm.
Lots of kids around, there's lots of stuff like that. We get introduced to Gaia. We get told that if you become a warrior scroll, you take on the form of the human form full time. You never change back to your actual form. They say that's so you can get what the full experience is. I don't know, some nonsense. Really,
Yeah.
it was just so they could save some money on visual effects because yeah, yeah, all that makeup. Um, yeah, and then they need to track down. I think Talos and what's his face have tracked down a dirty bomb maker because that's the next thing that's going to take place. And they um, intercept Gaia. They have a chat. Gaia looks like she's going to sort of betray the plantation or Skullos.
Yeah.
And then there's this nice little action scene with them tracking people using infrared spray and whatnot on
Yep.
bags that contain dirty bombs and whatnot. And then it all goes to shit. And what's his face? The bombs, they obviously it looks like they were betrayed. The bombs do go off. And in the with the bombs going off in the whole the whole thing, Maria Hill gets shut down. It's the first death we've seen since Iron Man. I'm
Yep.
guessing.
It
Of
is.
like a main, yeah. Yeah, so it's sort of that sort of hit for me. Like to have your first episode start off with like a main dying, or what I think that she's dead. It was I like that.
Same. That's
Like
the
it
stakes
just
right there.
yeah. It
Yeah.
feels like there is actual stakes in this show though, which is great. Like the last few, like the Ant Man, there was no stakes. Something happens in the quantum realm. Who the fuck cares? It's in the quantum realm. Like it's not happening on Earth.
Yeah.
But this, it feels like there's actual stakes.
Yeah. It also feels like it's a battle that they potentially can't win.
No.
You know what I mean? Like how do you defend against an enemy that can morph into you?
Mm.
Can morph into Nick Fury and walk through into areas that he shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
Or kill people that's close to Nick Fury.
Yeah, and then on the other end, how do you how as like the protagonist, how do I trust my friends? How do I know they're my friends? How like it's just it's really really interesting that for me.
Yeah, I definitely like the concept. It's weird, I think, seeing so much Nick Fury
Yeah.
because you don't really get to see that much. I do like the character moments that you have with him when Talos is sort of like, I'm 135
Mm.
years old, which is like close to like a 40-year-old in
Mate, it's like
Earth years.
40 of your years.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool hearing an Aussie in there. Ben
Oh yeah.
Mendelsohn does a lot as well.
Yeah.
Even getting a fight scene.
Mm.
But that line, I really like that line when he's like, I'm almost at that age where I gotta like quit my job and buy sports cars and do all sorts of crazy shit. And
Mm.
then he asked Nick Fury, what did you do? And he's like, I got the Avengers. It's like that's a really cool Nick Fury line.
Yeah.
I like that it's Fury.
Mm.
Like it's Fury through and through. It's not some variant of him. You know how sometimes they change it up so that it's more kid friendly or whatnot. It's
Yeah.
still that sort of dark humor Fury.
Yeah. Yeah. It's Fury, basically Fury from what's his face, man, which is what I like. Uh, Winter Soldier.
It's cool because it also asks the question as well. Nick Fury's been away for so long. Does he still have it?
Yeah.
Which is like that right there is also stakes.
Mm.
Like he's got to reconnect with this world that he's been away from for so long, and even he um, acknowledges that the blip changed him. I think it showed him his mortality. Maria Hill even confides in him, telling him like that sort of shit, and it was like it's wild when you don't have the confidence of the people that you work with, because then it just all goes to shit. Like, if you can't believe that Nick Fury can Nick Fury like he used to, it's a bleak fucking outcome.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Because he's playing checkers now.
Yeah, he was the man with the plan. He was there to get them out. But yeah, now everything's changed. I like that though. It's like him sort of like, it's the fish out of water sort of. He is the fish out of water now.
Yeah.
But did they say that he'd been away for 30 years, or he's just since the blip he's been away?
Just since the blip.
Okay.
He's been off planet. The last time we seen that off planet shit was Far From Home.
Yeah.
Where they kind of reveal who's who. Or, yeah.
Do you feel like we get a more vulnerable Nick Fury in these? In this?
Yeah. There's a certain sense of false bravado that Nick Fury has.
Yeah.
And he always has, because he's playing people left, right, and center. He even talks about how in the Cold War he was buying more drinks to keep the peace than like doing missions and stuff like that.
Yeah, to keep, was it? Yeah. How do you think we kept it cold?
Yeah. But
there's also a line that he says in there. She's asking him something, and he says like that he had some problem that he thought he got rid of when he went up into space, and then the problem followed him to space. So I don't know what that was, man. Because Nick's supposed to have a wife. He's supposed to have everything, right?
I don't know if he has that in the film universe.
Okay.
Yeah. I think they kept him loner.
Only
which is good, because then you don't have to spend an episode getting into all that shit. I just want Nick Fury action. Like it's got to be the Manchurian Candidate.
Yeah.
It's got to be the Mole Hunt.
But it's weird though, because when he's hallucinating in this as well. So he keeps seeing a little girl with a giant ball, like a rainbow-colored ball. So I don't know what that is, if that's Gaia or like who that is.
True.
Yeah.
Unless like there is a flashback to him like finding his wife and kid dead or something. And that's what he has here. Like this is the universe where Nick Fury is a loner because his family is like gone. Something like that. But only reason I've asked is that the reason why I reckon like Nick Fury worked in the Marvel movies because there was so little of him, because he was a very one-sided character.
Yeah.
So that's why I was curious to see if he would be more multifaceted in Secret Invasion to keep it interesting.
Yeah. I think they've kind of added that in there. Just the tip pause, but like we got 5 more episodes.
Fuck yeah. I'll start watching them now. Right now.
I was just clicks off.
I'm secretly invading.
Hey, yo. All right. Bado. Seems you got the anime corner lined up.
Yeah, it's a bit of a light one this week because Jesus, the fucking serious face, the dead face.
Let me catch.